I'm excited to be here. We're talking all about late bloomers, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, wondering if they can still make it in radiology technology school. And I am excited to be here. Let's jump right into it. I'm going to just tell you briefly my own story. I was not directly out of high school when I went back to school for radiology technology. I just did a whole series on career pivot, and I talk a lot about it on this channel of how I actually got into radiology. I'll briefly tell you, I never wanted to work in radiology because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know it existed. Never heard of it before. Let me know in the comments if you all have ever heard of radiology technology when you were growing up in school, because I didn't. I was on my own hair salon. I had my own clientele. I was doing great, lived in a whole nother state from my family since I was like 19, and I was doing my thing. Then I got ill and I needed to go back to school. So I went back to school, took some classes. I always stayed in college because I knew I wanted to finish my degree. So even though I had my thing going on, I still made sure I took at least 1 or 2 classes in college. That was something I wanted to do for myself. Despite being a business owner, doing just fine, handling my own business, got sick, said, okay, this is my time to go back to school. I was able to go back to school, got most of my prereqs done, going into the respiratory therapy program. And you guys, I had to shadow and realized in the nick of time that I don't like mucus. I don't like the smell of mucus. I don't like spit. I just, that amount of spit and mucus and the smells and the things you have to do as a respiratory therapist, my hat's off to you all. I have several friends that are respiratory therapists. It wasn't for me. And I was honest enough to know that. And I was like, I'm sorry. I went back to the counselor at the college and I said, ma'am, yeah, that's not going to work. And she wasn't surprised. So I don't think I was the only one. I think other people have figured it out. And they decided to tell me, hey, why don't you look at radiology technology? So that's how I got into radiology technology. I know, interesting story, but drop your age in the comments where you're at in the process, because I've got several comments. I'm going to be looking over here as well, because I've got several comments. Hello. Thank you, Leslie Clark 7051. I've got several comments to a video I recently did on going back to school. It's a short, so be sure to check it out. Are you in your 30s, 40s, 50s? Watch this. It is a video of why I know. Oh, thank you so much. Good sunlight, Leslie. But I would tell you, and that's a good thing, Leslie, this profession does not wear you down. I would say radiology is a great profession, and I'm talking about how you can go back to school in your 30s, 40s, 50s. I did it in my mid-20s. I did it. It was not easy. I just feel like if I was straight out of high school, it would have been a lot easier, but it's not impossible. Some of the comments you guys have left, I'm going to talk about those, and also, just give you, as I just gave you my story, so go back and watch it. But I want you to drop your age if you feel comfortable when you made a career pivot, when you made a choice to go back to school. And I find that interesting because there are more and more people who actually are going back to school in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, which is fantastic. And I'm going to tell you why. In that video, I kind of talk about it a little bit of why it sets you at a higher level. You should not be scared. You should not be afraid of going back to school at an older age. It is like phenomenal when you do. You'll be surprised. But one of the questions is, I'm 50, just visited campus today for the first time. I definitely needed to hear this because scared ain't the word. That's what the person in the comments said. Looking to start in the fall. Wish me luck. I'm going to need it. So I'm going to encourage you guys, not right now, I'm on the live. I want y'all to engage. Let me know any comments you have. I can answer. But this is a common theme. I get this all the time. Can I go back to school? I recently did a podcast episode on can you go back to school for MRI with a toddler? People want to know, like, healthcare programs are full-time most of the time, day shift, you have to do your clinicals. It's very hard to find weekend or night programs. They just really don't exist because most procedures take place in the daytime. So you have to go to school during the daytime for most programs. It's really expensive if you do find a program out there, and you got to make sure that it's accredited. That's the other thing. Accredited properly. I got a whole video on that too. So be sure y'all subscribe and stick with me because I tell all the details, the stuff you just can't Google. I try to give you stuff you can't Google. So hopefully you guys stick with me, ask me questions. But today we're just doing a live to answer any questions you have. If you're thinking about going back to school, I'm answering questions here too. So now, is it too late? I want to address that first fear, memory of science classes. I was very afraid. I had been out of school, even though I was taking a class here, a class there. I was very scared about, am I going to be able to take these science classes, anatomy, physiology with the lab? Last time I took that was in middle school, I think, or high school, early high school. That stuff is not what we're doing. And I'm going to tell you, the first time I took it, I don't know if it was the instructor and me or just the instructor, because anatomy physiology was my jam. Now, chemistry, no, that was not it. Physics, I did fine in, but chemistry, I'll tell you now, it was all me. But this class with the instructor, I went on and took myself out of it because I don't know what they were teaching, but it wasn't working with me. I re-enrolled in another one. So sometimes you have to adjust, especially as an older adult going back to school. Don't just chalk it up and say, I can't do it. You maybe have to find different instructors, different programs. Give yourself a break. Maybe you're taking on too many classes at once, getting your prereqs and things like that. So maybe find a way to take certain groups of prereqs so you don't overwhelm your brain. Don't overwhelm yourself with too much. That would be my advice. I literally took anatomy physiology all by itself. I did not take another class with that. And I remember when I was going back to school for nuclear medicine, I had been doing radiology for several years and I decided to add another certification. Well, my chemistry was too old, so I had to take a chemistry. I was scared. I literally was scared because I knew how bad I did in chemistry in high school, and in college chemistry, the intro, it whooped my butt. So and now I'm older. Advice is, my advice, you know what? I'm not getting another pair of glasses, honey. You just don't have to watch me. How about that? Boogabum 8048. Why don't you just leave? No, let me help you out. Let me help you. I will move them out. If they don't like my glasses, they can leave. That sounds simple to me. Anybody, if you don't like what you see here, you can leave. Okay, so anyway, we're going to get back to, is it too late for a deep dive? No, that's my advice when it comes to fear of these classes, these maths, these sciences. Just be strategic about how you get them. So, I mean, just figure out a way. Don't let it be a roadblock for you. Hopefully that's helpful. And like this person said, they are scared, and that's not even the word for it. So it's okay to be scared, but just don't let fear stop you, because you're going to watch that video and go back and say, oh my goodness, yeah. I just feel like you have such an opportunity when you're older. You have more going for you as an applicant, an older applicant, my opinion, because you're not going to waste the time. You are like, look, I got in this program. I'm not wasting the chance. I'm not wasting the time. And I don't have time. If you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, it might be your second career, maybe your third career. I've seen people retire from teaching and come into radiology. They're still young enough where they retire. Like my cousin is going to retire as a teacher and she's in her 50s. So, I mean, you still got probably another 20 years to work. Why not? And I'm looking at a career option right now, especially pediatric nursing. At the same time, I'm really into radiology technology, like x-rays and CT scans. My main question is about the job market. Aleph 93, and job market for x-ray technologists compared to a registered nurse. So that is a great question, and congratulations for doing your research. So, I would tell you this. When it comes to if there's a comparison, there is no comparison. They are totally different professions. Nursing is nursing. Radiology is radiology. Now, both of them, you can work with pediatrics. I worked at a children's facility, hospital, a huge children's facility for many years, multiple times. Love it. If I ever go back in the hospital, I'm going to children's. I don't want to work with adults. I only want to work with kids after that experience. So I get you that you like working with children. It is phenomenal. And I think they pay more when you work with kids because they want to attract the right people. And you got to pay the right people. And I'm going to tell you, I got paid good at a children's hospital, better than adults. And physically on your body, it's just not work on your body. It is a little more focused, tedious work because you're dealing with totally different anatomy, different circumstances, situations. But I'll say this, which one is better? I don't think you can use the term better or a better job market, because you don't have a job either one of them. I've never known a radiology technologist with its 11 modalities that you can go into. So when you get in, if you go to radiology technology school, that is the entry way, a primary pathway we call, to get into the profession of medical imaging. The actual profession is called medical imaging. You enter it through 5 pathways. It's going to be nuclear medicine, radiation therapy, ultrasound, MRI, or radiology technology. Those are the 5 ways to enter into medical imaging. I suggest you enter radiology technology. That is the main way I suggest. It's no wrong way. So if you're looking at going to school for radiology or nursing, it does not matter. There are going to be jobs for either one. Each one, you're going to have different levels you can go into. So I can't speak for nursing because I'm not a nurse, never been a nurse, but I do know once you become a registered nurse, you can't do everything. You have to specialize. Either you're going to do ICU or you're going to do cardiac or med surge, or different ones. You have your different specialties. Just like radiology is the same way. You go in with whatever primary pathway you go in. Now, if you do those other 4, those are the only 4. Those are the only. If you go in the MRI pathway, that's all you can do. If you go ultrasound, that's all you can do. If you go nuclear medicine, that's all you can do. Radiation therapy, that's all you can do. Medical dosimetry, that's all you can do. Sorry, that's another pathway. But you can do everything if you start as a radiology technologist. I think that's brilliant because it opens up your opportunities to always have a job. I personally have never been without a job. Even, like for me, I think for the last 20 plus years, I have been able to, I had too many jobs at once, y'all. Too many jobs. I work contract as needed. I have not worked full time for anyone in a long time for a specific hospital I don't even know when I stopped. It had to be over 20 years ago. And that is the beautiful thing that I don't feel like people, even in our profession, know. I tell you a story really quickly. I have a friend very stuck on working full time. They got to work full time, got to work full time. And I was like, I mean, you don't have to work full time in radiology. This person's been doing it as long as me. And I said, just think of this. Think about if you worked at 2 places PRN, you're going to get more money hourly. At least a few dollars, if not more than a few dollars more hourly. If your mate doesn't carry the insurance and you got to carry it, maybe get a part-time at one of those places. That way you get the money at the other one, but you get the benefits of the other one, but still don't have to be at one place with all the politics and all the craziness. Or if you want to take time off, you can. Like I could see it. They couldn't see it. And they went from full-time to full-time and they were like not happy. And then it came where they were forced to take 2 PRN jobs. It meant being at 2 different places, but they were like, you know what? I like this. I'm not getting up this morning. I decided I don't want to work on this Wednesday. That's the great thing about radiology. And now it's been almost 2-3 years and the person is like, I am not going back full time. We laugh about it. The person was like, I can't believe I didn't do this a long time ago. I'm telling you, y'all, I don't think people believe me when I say, don't let social media fool you. I've been doing this for 20 years. No, I'm not a nurse. I'm not going to knock nursing. I truly feel like you will not go wrong either way. You can go in a respiratory, you can go in a surgical set. I don't feel like you could go the wrong way at all in any of them. But to not do one because you compare it to another one, I wouldn't do that because they're so different. They're so different, but they have the same options. You could be a travel technologist just like you could be a travel nurse. I remember when I first started talking on social media back in 2019, 2020 about radiology, people were like, you can't travel as a radiology technologist. I'm like, yeah, you can. And these are people that worked in our profession, medical imaging radiology people telling me, you can't own your own imaging center. Yeah, I got a friend that owns 2 of them. She's an ultrasound tech. Like, I'm telling you guys, it's possible. You can't be in informatics. It's not enough jobs out there for us. I know at least 5 people that work in informatics for the last 10, 15 years. And they started as a radiology technologist. If you guys stick with me, I'm telling you, I am going to be going live way more often. So get your questions together, get ready. And I want to talk about things that are not Googleable. I want you guys to ask me stuff, even if you ask me the same question in another way, because I want to help you guys understand that you have options. Everything is not nursing and a doctor. That is why I wrote this book, Rachel the Radiographer. I know the camera has flipped it around, but I wrote this book, Rachel the Radiographer, to help kids understand that radiology is the third largest medical profession in the nation. And all I saw as a kid growing up was nursing, being a doctor, a pediatrician. Everybody don't have the circumstances or the desire to do either of those. So they should know that they have options. So I created a book that teaches young people all about Rachel, the radiographer, and her journey through becoming a radiology technologist. And it starts with kids. We also have amazing words here where they can read the story themselves. They don't need their parents to read it to them. And we got activities in the back. Also have a coloring book to go along with it. And I'm working on a few other things. So you can check it out down here. It is pinned. One of the, I definitely pinned the product down there for you all if you want to check it out. But yeah, let's keep going. I want to see some more questions in there. So we addressed the fear of the science and memorizing stuff. I'm going to tell you, use your family to memorize stuff. People wonder, how can I go back to radiology school at my age 30, 40, 50 if I got kids? Use those kids to quiz you. Like, I think it's really fun. When I was learning stuff and I would get my nieces, they thought it was so much fun to quiz me because they wanted to see me wrong so bad. I mean, kids love it. Kids love it. They'll get those, you were wrong. Oh, you got that right. You know, I mean, that is how you involve the family in your education instead of they're constantly needing. Why everybody, kids got homework, mama got homework too, or daddy got homework too. We all gonna sit down and do our homework. This is homework time. Nobody talk. TV off. Let's all sit down and do homework. And have your kids hold you accountable. I mean, they're gonna find that a lot of fun. They're gonna say, ooh, I get to tell mom and daddy what to do. I like this. You know, of course, you the parent. I'm not saying disrespectful, but what I'm saying is just make it fun. Give them a little timer, even if they're little toddlers. I'm gonna say I went to one of these timeshare things, so I love them. Timeshare things. I would sit there and listen to you for 90 minutes, no problem, and say no. My husband, not so much. He doesn't like them, but he goes and enjoys the vacation. So we took our friend's kid one time, and he just had learned how to tell time. So in order to get this kid to sit there for 90 minutes, you know what I did? I gave him a job. I said, baby, when this hits on this clock, this piece of the clock here, you say time up. His parents didn't think he was going to do it. He could not wait to say time up. As soon as it hit the quarter till, he was like, time up. He put those Cheerios down and he was like, time up. I'm telling you, give the kids an assignment, make it fun, make it a family thing. They would love to see your x-rays in your book. They would love to see what mom or dad learned in school, the anatomy. Buy some anatomy books or make it a fun, go on Pinterest and try to figure out how you can make your anatomy class that you're trying to pass a family activity. I mean, how many parents want to get their kids off tablets, want to spend more time with their children, and they think going back to school, you won't be able to do that? Well, you can make it fun. You can get Rachel the Radiographer book and show your kids what you're going to be doing, and it can become a reading project. They can read their book and come back to you and tell you what they learned about radiology. You can get projects to where you are learning how to take chest x-rays. There's fun stuff on Pinterest where you can get 2 Ziploc bags, get some straws, tape them up, everybody blow into them, and the Ziploc bags inflate. I love doing this at career days. Kids love it. Now, of course, only one child can do it because there's only one person putting their mouth on the straws, but in your family, y'all do what you want to. But it is a fun activity. So you can fake and take a chest x-ray of them, get a little box and put a light behind it. And when they're taking a breath, it's beep, and the light goes up. Like, these are fun STEM projects. I want you guys to think not in the fear of things that you can't do something because you're 30, 40, 50. Think of, how am I going to do this and involve my family? That's how you're going to do it. Even if I went to the, let me see. I went over. Hello, I love working with kids. I used to teach kids when I did Taekwondo, and I just found out I'm interested enough to work with them. Good. Nice. I even went on to the ER to speak to a nurse to ask questions, and he was really open about it. I also went yesterday to speak with the x-ray technologist, but they weren't available. I'm glad to have the chance to talk with you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, look, We are busy in radiology. It is hard for, I think you just hit on a good point. Not that nursing is not busy, but the ER has a plethora, a lot of nurses. And sometimes when it's a downtime, you can have more time. We don't have that. If the ER is cranking up, we're busy. Inpatient is cranking up from the floors. We go to the floors and do portable x-rays on people. It doesn't matter the body part. Any x-ray can be done portably almost. Most x-rays we could do portably. I'm just telling you. We're in the OR. X-ray is going on all the time, and that's just one modality. It's going on all the time. It's one of the busiest. I went to a radiology museum, and it gives a live ticker of the most busy modality at that time. X-ray wins hands down. CT is a second. And you'll be surprised what the third is. And this is why I tell people, we are not lazy healthcare workers, and we are not sitting back twiddling our thumbs, drinking on Stanley cups. No, people always say, why does X-ray have so many people in there? Because we're always busy. You see, Alep 93 just said they went to talk to the nurse and X-ray tech, but the X-ray tech was too busy. It is the truth. We are busy, busy, busy. So just know that when you get into the profession, it is not a profession where you're going to be just chilling and relaxing. So here we go. One thing you can do to balance out, and I kind of talked about this already. If you're going back to school for radiology in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you got kids, you got a family, you want to know, how do I balance this with kids? It's hard to explain to your 6-year-old why mommy or daddy is studying anatomy. I already gave you tools on how to do that. Make it a fun game. Let them do projects. Maybe you're working on the gastrointestinal system, right? Take that for instance. You're working on the GI system. So what you can do is, this is prereqs. You can have your kids maybe name, or you can get little sticky things, put tape on the back or Velcro and stick it on the wall, and they can put together the gastrointestinal system. Now you can take it a step further, and you can buy x-rays off of Amazon. I do this for Career Day, and you buy the x-rays and you're doing maybe the skeletal. So you're going to have the kids race who can put, and they work as teams. I don't know how many kids you have. I do this because in Career Day, you got 20 kids, and I can't have one do it. So I put them on teams of 2. And they got to work together to put the skeleton together. And whichever team gets it done the fastest, they win a prize. So that is fantastic. This is how you involve the kids and you learn at the same time. Because now you're like, oh, that's the liver. That's the spleen. That's the kidney. Oh, okay. So these are the ribs, rib 1, rib 2, because you got to learn the ribs as well. It's so much you have to learn, but you can involve the kids. And then when you miss rib number 10, they go, Mama, Daddy, you missed it. You got to go back. And you can help them, count on you. Maybe, what is this? They could touch it. It's your clavicle. Where's the humerus? Right there. You could talk to your kids and they can use you as not the skeleton, but the model. And that's how you practice your anatomy. I mean, we did it when they were babies, right? Touch your toes, touch your nose, wear your ears. Do the same thing. This is how you involve your family. Let them quiz you. Mommy, tell me where the humerus is. How many fingers do you have? What are the joints in the fingers? And this is teaching your kids. By the time they get out, they're going to be so educated in healthcare, they're going to want to do what mommy and daddy does, right? They're going to want to have their own Rachel the Radiographer book. So rapid fire Q&A. Okay. Oh, let's go through the comments. I got another comment. I'm 44 and want to become a radiology technologist. See, there are people out there that are starting first, second, third careers. I'm currently an electrical contractor, but I have some fears about going back to school. I don't blame you. I didn't know how I was going to afford it when I was going back to school. And I think back now, I lived on my own. I lived in a whole nother state from my family. My school was so far, at least an hour. I was in the country, an hour plus. Didn't have a lot of traffic, but it was just far. I didn't have a fancy car, but I had a decent car, a used car, but it was fine, Honda Accord. My car lasted for like almost 400,000 miles. And when I bought it used, I gave it to my sister. So it was a good car. So I had a decent car, decent place to live that was affordable. And I had a night job. I worked at night at a place called Deluxe Chicks. I don't know if you guys know about that, but that job was what I was going to do at night while I went to school in the daytime for radiology. Now, I don't know in my mind how I thought I was going to do that, but I was going to do it. I don't know when I was going to sleep, but I worked. I think I was off. I think I worked Sunday through Thursday at the time. But then guess what? My job decided that they were going to send the jobs overseas. So I was going to be out of a job. So I don't know how I was going, but I was still going. I was like, I figure it out. I will figure it out. I got into this program. I'm taking it. I am taking it and I'm going. I don't even know how I thought I was going to do it working full time, y'all. I don't know, but this is why I say, just go forward with your plans. Let the chips fall where they may, but just do everything you're supposed to do. Like get your prereqs, apply, do your shadowing, get everything done, save up your money. Because later on, that's what I wound up doing. I wound up getting ill and I couldn't take the spot in radiology that I had. I had to give it up. So I'm glad I gave it up to somebody. I love to know who you are that got that spot, but congratulations to you. But I had to move back home with my parents and into my old bedroom. But I knew I was going to apply to a school in that state, but I had to live there for a year in order to get in-state tuition. Plus, I was just getting well. I needed to get healthy. So this was not a time for me to go back to school. All that to say is don't stop your plans no matter what happens. You're never too old. Sometimes it's just a detour because I wind up getting into one of the most prestigious private schools, Emory University School of Medicine. At that time, had an associate degree program that got you a degree in radiologic sciences, medical imaging sciences. Who knew? I never dreamed I would go to that school. Like that was never on my radar, ever. I never even thought of applying to that school. I knew I couldn't afford it, and I didn't know they had a radiology program. I forget how I found out they had one, but I say all that to say, y'all, if you see my story and how it looked like I should never have been in radiology, never, so many stumbles and falls, and just keep getting back up and going. Don't let your age, anything stop you, because that is actually going to help you. I knew at my age that I didn't have any more chances. I think I was like a cat. I was close to using all my 9 lives. So this opportunity, after I got well, I drove trucks for FedEx for a year and saved all my money. I didn't go out with my friends like that. I was like, y'all, I'm broke. I'm staying home. I moved back into my bedroom. All I had was my car, my bedroom set. I didn't shop. I stayed home and used my mother's AOL dial-up internet. Y'all, I was perfectly fine. I was grateful because I knew I did not want to work that first year because I was not still 100% healthy. But child, when I finally got in, I focused. There was nobody. And I got stories for when I was in school. I'm going to tell them later. I got stories for when I was in school of how you do not let anything or anybody stop you, not even yourself. So I'm going to go to these questions. One of 40-year-old PTA here, and I'm currently researching a career change. Good for you. What is it? Oh, physical therapist assistant. Gotcha. My friend does that. She loves it. I have been in this for 20 years now. Yes, Miss Rue 32 McGee, she said the reason she got out, she's a self-coach, some kind of coach. I forget. I'm sorry. She's a coach now. But she says she got out of it because after a while it was just so physically demanding on her body. 20 years. Wow. I feel like Miss Rue 32 McGee, I don't know where you live, but I think you should check out my resource for radiology technology student. It's in my links in the description. You can go to my link tree. I have a free guide for those looking to go to radiology technology school. It's going to help you find accredited programs. I am huge on knowing your options. There are different accreditations out there. You should know, I didn't know that the different accreditations existed, and maybe they didn't exist when I was in school, but there are different accreditations now. And one thing I found out was that you cannot work at a veterans hospital without going to a J-CERT program. That is why I created this guide. It is a free guide. It kind of lists everything in one place for you. I hope it's helpful. I hope you grab it, or any of you grab it if you're thinking about going back to school for radiology. it is going to help you choose the schools that long term are best for you. And I think that's important, not to knock or say that one accreditation is better than the other. I'm not giving any opinion on that. But what I'm saying is, if you know that you served in, like, say you served in the armed forces for X amount of years, and you want to eventually go work at the VA because you'll get better pay because of your years of service if you go back and work there versus a civilian. Am I right? I'm right. So it would make sense for a veteran to want to go back and work at the VA. But if you went to a radiology program that was not J-Cert accredited, you can't work there even if you were a veteran. And that would be sad. So I just feel that people should know their options so they can make a fully informed decision. You may say, I don't care. I don't care. I'll take my chances. I just need to get in this program. Makes sense. So, and I think, don't quote me, but I think someone told me that military only pays for JCET programs. I don't know. Somebody tell me if that's correct, but somebody just told me that. One of the programs I'm looking at award the highest extra points apart from a 4.0 GPA is to have work experience as an imaging assistant. Or imaging assistant in hospital transport and radiology. Wow, I think that would give you a lot more points because you know the lingo. You know the lingo. You know how to get around. You know certain things that others would not know. So I would see that being more points for you. So imagine if you were 30, 40, 50 years old, plus you've been a hospital transporter. I'm gonna tell you, I love my transporters. I learned a lot from hospital transporters on proper body mechanics and how to properly transfer patients. Y'all, that will save your body, your back. The first place I worked, where I got my training for school, they have multiple hospitals and they have some of the best transporters, hands down. This hospital does not have like one transporter to a place. I remember there was one or two transporters. They only like to transport by themselves, but they knew what they were doing. They could move anybody, and certain ICU nurses would only request certain transporters. Like, that's when you know you good, right? That's when you know you are the stuff. And that's what I'm going to tell you. This point that Resident Scholar 7 is making, I feel is so important because sometimes people say, I get these thoughts that come to me when I'm talking, that I don't want to be a transporter. They look down on certain professions, but I'm going to tell you, stepping stones can lead to great things. When I climbed the Great Wall of China, I thought to myself when I first started climbing, these are baby steps. Child, once we got at a certain level, it was like, oh my goodness. They led to like steep walls, like inclines. But those first little rocks were these little steps. And I thought to myself, yeah, this was all on TV. It's not, no, it's for real. I say that to say the job of a transporter will prepare you tremendously in medical imaging, in anything. My friend that is a physician assistant, we both went to Emory. She was a scribe. She was a patient care tech at an ER. And that's how I learned that most doctors, most physician assistants, most nurse practitioners, they start out as scribes. They start out as patient monitor techs, patient care techs, MAs. And you may say, is it for the money? Because no, they get that experience because it's required. It looks better on their resume and them getting into the programs. And I think that is so good that your program really rewards people who have that background. I admire that. I like that about that program. Without prior experience, I don't think imaging assistant or x-ray technician is reachable if you were to start over. I do. I don't agree with that one. I do. I didn't have any healthcare experience at all. I've never worked in healthcare before I became a radiology technologist. And I have done many things with this career beyond my imagination. And I feel like I still have so much more to go. But I have options. And I've done it without a background doing anything in healthcare. I just don't believe that. I believe that if you find the right person that sees there's no limit to what they can learn and what they can do in this profession, It doesn't matter how they get their start. But to choose people, I feel like for a program to choose people who have that background over others that don't, in a balanced way. I wouldn't choose everybody in a program. I don't think everybody in program should have to have a background because that doesn't make them good at what they're going to be doing just because you worked in healthcare. I know some grumpy, unkind people that work in healthcare. So I wouldn't say that just give you a few points because just kind of lessens what you have to teach them. But I do feel that individuals who don't have any healthcare background deserve a chance. And they can be, if not just as good as someone who has a background. Again, I don't think you having a background makes you better. I feel like it should be rewarded because as a program director, you got to make sure if you get 10 people in your program, at least 8 or 9 all finish and they finish with high marks. So your chance of getting that to happen is to balance out the people you accept into the program. Whereas if you get all 18-year-olds who just out their mom and daddy house and they ain't never had a job, they get in, oh, I'm burned out in the first week. Y'all see TikTok. Y'all see these videos. I'm burned out. You mean they're not paying me for my clinicals? Like I'm telling y'all see it. I'm not making it up. They're going to drop out. Oh, I didn't know I was going to see blood. I'm going to drop out. I didn't know I had to do 8-hour clinicals. Oh no, this is getting in the way of my Pilates class. And drop out of programs for those reasons. Imagine if you are running a whole program and these are the people that you're accepting in because they're younger, because I know you're laughing, but I'm telling you, I've been an educator for 7 years. I have seen some of the most ridiculous reasons. And I'm just saying. So this is why I think it is balanced to accept people without background in healthcare and those with, because you're going to have a certain amount of people drop out. You start with 20 people, you're going to lose at least 2 or 3 over the 2 years. It maybe 5 over the 2 years, either because of grades, just life happens to people. Things happen. People got to drop out, financial reasons. I almost had to drop out in my second year. I had no money for books. I had no money. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this second year. My people in the class like, girl, you can borrow my book. But we had to have certain books that we had to actually have of our own. Like some workbooks you had to have. I didn't have no money. And it was rough, y'all. I was like, I did not come this far, but it worked out. I'm telling y'all, I got like 9 or 10 lives. I got like 9 or 10 lives. Oh, that's a compliment, David Luther, W3. David Luther said, do you think Mr. Beast is Lord? What? I don't know why you say that, but it sounds weird. So I don't know. Let's remove that. Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't looking at the comments. But anyway, and apply to programs now and you want these extra points since it's so competitive. How would you get entry-level job relating to radiology without a license or experience? Yeah, you can't be a registered radiology technologist. I guess when they mention an x-ray technician, we don't use that term for registered radiology technologies. We're not technicians. I'm not sure what they mean by x-ray technician, but I just assumed they meant maybe like a limited medical radiologic technologist. They don't even go by technicians. Those are individuals in some states, not every state has it, some states to where they can do basic x-ray. They are not allowed to do advanced things. They can just do extremities, things that you do in doctor's office, extremities. They can't do abdomens, chest, things like that. They're not supposed to. That is not what they've been trained on or tested on. They can do basic things. They can't do barium swallows, barium enemas, any of those things like that. They usually don't even work in hospitals. So that's what I assumed they were saying by x-ray technician, but they don't even call themselves technicians. They are LMRTs. Most states don't have that program, but it's a limited licensed technologist. Again, limited. If you do that, I personally think if you go that route, make sure you do the bridge program where you bridge over into a registered radiology technology program. So when you go into that LMRT program, make sure they have a bridge program and you go right into it after your 1 year. That may be what they're talking about. But imaging assistant, ARRT actually has a certification for that, for MR imaging assistant. You can get that. There are plenty of jobs out there to be an imaging assistant. Basically, you're helping bring patients back, getting them contrast. You're depending on if you're EMT or have some kind of IV certification, you can even put in IV sometimes at some hospitals. You can also put them on a table, get them set up so the technologist could come in and do the rest, get them undressed, those kind of things like that to speed up the process. But that is how that works. So there are plenty of jobs out there with that. Transporters, you can always get a job as a transporter, always. And specifically, you want to work in radiology. Radiology always needs transporters, y'all. I've worked at places where it's like, oh, one transporter for the whole hospital. What in the world? They can't keep them. Okay, so like for a hospital transporter, for example, how would you go to getting one without any medical experience? You don't need resident scholar, you don't need any experience for that. I want you to go on your local hospital's website and search transporter and watch how many jobs come up. I don't think you'll have a problem getting that job. I don't think so. Let's see. And would a petite woman be more disadvantaged at being a hospital transporter since some patients can be twice or more our size? That is a good question. I'm going to say this. We don't use our physical strength in healthcare. You should not. You should not. We are not taught to transport and move patients using our strength. We have tools to help us. So back in the day when I started, the stretchers and wheelchairs were crap. Like they were not ergonomically correct. They were terrible. I worked in one hospital that didn't have a transporter, so I had to transport the patients back up in stretchers with IV poles that wasn't attached to the stretcher, raggedy behind stretchers. This hospital wall was tore up by me and me only, I'm sure, because it didn't have steering on it. Back in the day, y'all, stretchers didn't have steering, and they were like the buggies at the grocery stores that you always get that are just blah, 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 moving and bouncing and shaking, and it's the wheel just moving. That's how the stretchers were. So I used to hate the transport because I'm not good at it. I'm good at it when I don't have an IV pole and pushing it. And we had charts back then. You'd stick the chart underneath the head, rest under the stretcher head, hope the patient laying back hard enough to push it down so it don't fall off. Oh my goodness, I got so many stories. Hopefully ain't no urinal hanging off, no catheter bag hanging off. Oh, I got stories for days. Anyway, so I'm pushing this thing down, just trying to make it to the elevator. And the steering is like, and I'm just letting it go. And then I just say, you know what, bump this. I'm going to use the wall. So I use the wall to just keep it straight. And of course, you scratch up the whole wall. The wall looks horrible. I wasn't the only one. But it beat me, boom, playing bumper cars with the stretcher with the person in it. Like, I'm just going to ride along the side and then press the button and we get in. And we get out and go the whole way down to their room. And I pull them up next to their bed, use a slide board. Because most of the time, the nurses were not available to help for whatever reason. So you are responsible for helping that patient get back over. You can ask for help. Sometimes I would just wait till somebody came because sometimes I wasn't doing it by myself. But we have tools. Like you use slide boards, smooth move boards, they call them. And that does most of the work. You'll be taught how to do it. And then now we have stretchers that actually have steering to them. You can also angle the stretcher. So sometimes my patients are too far down and I need their head to be higher up. I'll put it up high, raise the stretcher all the way up high like this. And then their head part, I'll tilt down like at a slant where they're about to slide off. And that way I just use the sheet to slide them back, but gravity's doing the work. And if I need them to go the other way, I do the other way as well. Now it doesn't tilt side to side. So I use smooth move boards. I don't use that's why I still got my shoulders. I have not had shoulder surgery. I don't use brute strength because you can injure the patient, you can injure yourself. It's not how we're taught. That's not how you're supposed to move. I don't care if you got 20 people, you still move the patient with the tools that you're given. So most of the time I worked by myself. So I make use of different methods of angling the patient, using tools that I have, and that's how you stay safe. So hope that helps. But some of the best transporters are older and short. So don't let that steer you away. Yes, and not to be an actual rad tech. Yeah, these are points for the CC rad tech. Yeah. You say something important. I think the reason I haven't decisive if I want to go to nursing or x-ray tech, because I don't have any medical background, and that make me wonder if I failed. Nope. Alep 93, you never know till you ask, right? So apply and see where the chips fall. Just start preparing yourself. All the prereqs for all healthcare programs are about the same. Some require a little more, some require a little less. Get the max amount of things. So just get that chemistry, get that anatomy, get that physics. So that way you're covered on the sciences, get that biology, get all that done. You're covered on all the sciences. So if you choose to go this way and they need chemistry versus this way, they didn't need chemistry, you got it anyway. And you may need it later. Say, like for me, I wanted to go for nuclear medicine. I needed a chemistry. Mine was too old. So I had to get a chemistry at an older age. Whereas if I already had it, I wouldn't have had to do it. So that's what I say. I'm trying to show y'all the stuff that I didn't do, because you sometimes think, I won't need it. I'll just do the bare minimum now. Look, while you're in school, just get it all. Get it all. It's cool that have this. I cannot read that. I cannot see it. Guess I need new glasses, huh? I'm currently a rad tech student clinicals. I'm thinking about doing MRI certification through Post Radiology Online. Would you suggest being a rad tech for a while or go straight to MRI? Kellen for Uria 8834. Good questions. Congratulations. I hope it works out for you. I know you're not asking me this, but I don't push any school because I only went to one. So I can honestly only say, if anybody asks me, is it a good school? I don't know. I never went. I don't even know anybody that went to those schools. So I don't give recommendations. I don't say good or bad about them, because I can only speak for one school that I went to. But would I suggest you be a rad tech, radiology technologist for a while, or go straight into MRI? I always tell people, think of long-term options. I personally recommend, I don't think you can go wrong either way, but this is what happens. If you go just for MRI, you only can do MRI, right? That's all you can do. If you go for radiology technology, you can immediately go for MRI. Like within 6 months. It should take you maybe 6 months to get all your exams. Like after you graduate, take your ART for radiology. You can immediately start getting your clinicals for MRI. You don't even have to go to school for MRI. You can learn it through the ASRT. They have a course you can do online didactic stuff, the actual classroom stuff. And you can take different courses online if you want to. And at the hospital you're at, try to arrange doing clinicals. That's an option. So now with a radiology degree, being a radiology technologist and being ART credentialed in that, you can do it IR, you can do mammography, you can do CT, you can do nuclear medicine, you can do them all. And that extra year of experience as a radiology technologist now allows you to go to advanced practitioner. Without radiology technology and getting at least a year full-time experience, you cannot become a registered radiologist assistant, RRAs, which are practitioners. They do what radiologists do. That's one thing I think as the profession advances, you need to prepare for the advancement of the profession, not just for now. When I started, there was no such thing as a radiologist assistant. There were not all these pathways into medical imaging. But now there are, which is great, but it also can be bad if that's not what you were thinking. And now you got to start back over because you only went for MRI, but you really want to be a radiologist assistant 10 years later, right? So this is why I say plan now for the future. Your moves now should be for when the technology advances even more. Don't just plan for the technology now or where the profession is now, because it's going to change. It's going to advance. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Resident Scholar 7, thank you for asking good questions, and I wish you the best. Please keep doing this. It's really helpful for new students wanting to prepare for the career, and you make it enjoyable to learn from that. And I always got a story. Sometimes too many, but I always got a story because I feel like that helps people really see. I'm not making stuff up. Like I'm telling y'all my fails, my wins. You know, some people appreciate it, some don't, but I'm here for those of you like Resident Scholar 7. I did not get on social media to get likes, get views. I was never on social media before this. I didn't have a social media, but a little Facebook. But I saw the gap in our profession that people didn't know anything about us. We didn't know anything about us. And people were really trying to figure out how to make career changes in our profession and to get in our profession. And I feel like, hence why I wrote the book, Rachel the Radiographer, is younger people need to know about this profession earlier. So they're not like us in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, just now saying, like, wait, what's the difference between a radiology technologist and a nuclear medicine tech? Like, what is a nuclear medicine tech? What's a medical dosimetrist? You mean I was trying to go to school to be a doctor, but I decided I didn't want to, but I got all this debt. Now I need to find a job because I got a degree in biology, but I can't find a job. Well, they didn't know about medical dosimetry. What? What is that? Like, I'm telling you, there are so many career options within imaging. I just wrapped up series 5 of my series, Career Pivot. Hope you guys check it out. Hope you grab a book, Rachel the Radiographer, for your kids, your grandkids. It's right here in my YouTube store. If not, you can go to racheltheradiographer.com. Grab one. You can donate it to a kid in your home. You can donate it to a kid. I am a kid in your home, a kid in your neighborhood. We have these little reading boxes in our neighborhood, so I put them in there, and kids love them. But this is a fully hand illustrated book, hard copy. Hear that? Can y'all hear that? Hard copy. I hope you get one. It supports the profession. It goes into our scholarship. And thank you guys for watching this live. Let me get to these last few questions. I'm trying to get to a dosimetry from bachelor's degree in IT. So you're trying to get into dosimetry from a bachelor's degree. They have bachelor's dosimetry programs and bachelor's and master's dosimetry programs. So you'd have to just choose one. I have a video on here. Be sure to check out my video. I do have a video on here. See if I can tag it some kind of way. I don't think it'll let me tag it. Yeah, no, it does not let me. Yeah, it doesn't let me tag it. So you just go to my videos and you'll see, type in medical dosimetry in the search bar and it'll pull up a video. It has all the information for you to look for medical dosimetry programs. I found an online NUPMEG program that starts fall of 2027, Blissful 7648. Congratulations. Contact them, see where you need to start. Oh, it's too far? Oh my goodness, it's too far. Well, go for radiology technology. That's what I would say. But until then, you guys, please check out my other videos. Check out Rachel the Radiographer, a children's radiology book. Donate it to a library. Give it to your kids, your grandkids. Any kid will love this book. And tell them what you do for a living and what you plan to do in the future if you are a radiology technology student or planning to become one. Please follow along and subscribe to my page and check out my podcast, A Couple of Rad Techs podcast, right here on YouTube or anywhere you listen to podcasts.